everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe.
And we're here to talk about a Mike Leigh movie that came out recently on Blu-ray and DVD. It is called Secrets and Lies from 1996. We've previously done Naked, one of our popular episodes.
Yeah.
And Meantime, with Tim Roth and Gary Oldman. Sorry, everyone, I forgot Gary Oldman's name. This is another British melodrama by Mike Leigh. And I've never really watched Mike Leigh movies until doing this show, and I'm going to say I'm a big Mike Leigh fan.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I like these talkie movies. Like we talked about, he didn't do this movie, we talked about the Metropolitan. Mm-hmm. I like these movies. And this one is probably, when we talk about Naked, compared to Naked and Meantime, it's more mature than it usually is. There's no wacky, zany characters like a David Thewlis or a Tim Roth. There's none of that. It's very real characters.
Yeah, and I think, it starts showing his maturity as a filmmaker, as a story writer. And, I read about this, that, he really kind of used the experiences of friends he's known who've been adopted to kind of form this story. And it's a really complex character narrative, just on a bunch of different levels, and it really is showcasing kind of a masterwork.
Yeah,
I would honestly put this above a Naked and a Meantime. I think this, and it deservedly so, was nominated for 5-6 Oscars.
Yes.
Almost the entire major categories, picture, best directing, all of those, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, especially it's not just Mike Leigh's writing and direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, we gotta talk about every character has a complexity to it. Maybe not Paul. Maybe not Paul the boyfriend.
True.
I mean, he doesn't really have a complexity, but
But I'm sure if we saw more of him,
yes,
I'm sure he would have developed him even further.
But
your main core set of characters, Hortense, Cynthia, Maurice, Monica,
yes, Roxanne. I can't forget Roxanne.
They all have just this unbelievable kind of, I want to say realness, but more of they're just so realistic and well portrayed, deep characters.
Yeah. They're flawed. They're all flawed.
They're flawed. They have their own secrets.
And lies.
And lies.
There was a title drop at 2 hours and 12 minutes for the title.
But it shows how, hard certain decisions are, and kind of how people deal with that. This could be a really difficult movie to watch when you have a complicated family dynamic, like a lot of these characters do.
Yeah, basically the plot is, we start with Hortense. She is at her mother's funeral. That's the start of the movie. So that's gonna be, what you're getting into. And so she's gonna look for her mother, biological mother, and her mother is white.
Yeah. So.
And she's like, this is not right. Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, Hortense grew up knowing she was adopted in a loving family, but it really kind of hits on something a lot of adopted children go through, and it's well, who really who gave birth to me? Who are my parents? Why did they do that? How did we end up here?
Yeah.
And she goes to track it down, and your first complication is the birth certificate says my mom's white, and for those who have seen the movie, or haven't seen the movie, yeah, she's a darker skin tone. She's at least part black.
Yes.
And she just doesn't believe it, and then later on we even see that Cynthia doesn't believe it either at first, until she realizes it.
And then Hortense actually she enters into a family that's very dysfunctional. A lot of problems in this family. Not a perfect family at all.
Yeah, and it's such a delicate situation. That cafe scene is just so difficult to watch, and it's so amazingly performed.
Yeah, we gotta talk about the cast.
Yeah, Hortense is sitting there trying as hard as she can to get information. She's not overly consoling. She's actually quite upset that Cynthia just refuses to believe the documents that she has, and Cynthia's just can't put it together.
Cynthia's played by Brenda Blethyn, I believe her name is, and she is amazing in this.
Yeah,
she's crying a lot in this, and also I also appreciate people like Maurice.
Yeah,
played
Timothy
by
Spall.
Yeah, who's
amazing.
I only know him from, aside from these movies, I only know him from Rockstar.
Oh,
he was the manager in Rockstar.
Okay, I was a little surprised that was your pick. A lot of people remember him from Harry Potter. It's Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, that's true. But
he's a tremendous actor, and he does a great job in this movie.
Especially at the end, but before the end, the photography scenes.
Yeah.
Like the Scar one, like that. Like, you get to know him, and you get to know his relationship with Monica, and they don't really... Monica has these cramps.
The severe cramps, yeah.
And it's one of those things, you don't know exactly what's going on until that Roxanne's birthday, when Maurice steps up, but also we reveal all the secret and lies, and you're like, oh man, and that's what brings them all together.
Yeah, and there's hints at it earlier in the film, right after he goes and sees Cynthia for the first time in a couple years. It's just a really, really touching movie with a lot of brilliant performances that captures the complexity of not just everyday life, but just things that can just slip away from you. Like Maurice loves his sister, but hasn't seen her in 2.5 years, and it's because of this dysfunction between her and his wife.
And he also feels like Monica's not really into him anymore, not in love with him anymore.
Yeah.
And Monica probably feels deep down that she can't provide for what Maurice probably wants deep down, stuff like that.
There's so much.
There's so much in this movie, and it's got a nice little score that Mike Leigh always has in his movies. I was watching a movie recently that made me think, it has a Mike Leigh kind of score, and it's The Room. The Tommy Wiseau's The Room, that sound. But I think the movie is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I definitely got a little... When Cynthia starts telling Roxanne about her dad, I start getting emotional. At that point, everyone's crying, and you're like, I can't do this. And Hortense, I love her in that scene. She's just sitting there, stone-faced.
Yeah.
She's absorbing their new family. No.
And it comes back, that cafe scene.
Even before that, the phone call to set up the cafe.
Yeah, she's very... she's able to convey a kind of a stone face, but it's she's holding back something, and it's just so... There's just so much there.
And then when you see Cynthia and her... their relationship blossom. Mm-hmm. That's such great stuff. This movie has a lot of great character moments. Mm-hmm. It's a great melodrama. It's great... it's just a great slice of life kind of movie that he's always great at.
Yeah.
And it's the first time it doesn't have this David Thewlis doing this weird diatribe, monologue with a security guard. There's no Tim Roth and Ed Gary Oldman. They're being weird characters.
You're not dealing with outcasts at all. This is just straight up. You could walk down a street and find a family like this.
Yeah.
And it's really something hard to do on film that they capture that theater intimacy and that just emotional connection with the audience through the camera, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I should ask you, it might be a dumb question, would you recommend this movie to the audience?
100%. This is the best Mike Leigh movie I've seen, and Mike Leigh hasn't made a bad one.
Yeah.
So
there's a couple more we have to watch. There's like Life So Sweet, Tipsy Topsy, or Tipsy Turvy. I forget how it's called. Those are ones. I think it's in a couple more in the Criterion collection. But I know this one recently got put out.
But yeah, this one, it just got put onto the collection. They've been missing it for a while because this is a great film.
Yeah, it's in my cart. It's in my cart to watch, and not to watch, to buy. By saying that, I guess I recommend the movie too. 100%, I recommend the movie. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Here's something that I could point out with Mike Leigh that has been said about certain like Bill Sienkiewicz as a comic book artist.
Oh,
he captures subtext extremely well.
Yes.
When you watch a Mike Leigh scene, like the cafe scene, like the party scene, it's not just what is said, but it's also what's not being said, what they're avoiding saying.
Yeah. Which is the truth.
And it's done so well.
So, Mike Leigh, your Criterion Connection approved, because awesome film. But that's our thoughts on Secrets and Lies. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about this movie. Let us know in the comment section below. Is there any other? What's the next Mike Leigh movie we should do? There's like two that we've listed. There's probably more. Let us know which one we should do first. There you go. And what's your favorite? Do you think Secrets and Lies is his best film? What's his film that's not in the Criterion Collection yet? And any suggestions? Like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. You know the drill. We've been doing this for almost 200 episodes, I think. And you all know the drill, so go ahead and do it. So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe.
And we will see you later.